All right, Shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, wherever you may be. Shalom, Ashra, Shalom. All right, back in Genesis chapter 49, it says, And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. All right. And we know the word days in the Hebrew is yawam. All right. And when you go into the word last, it is acharyath. Right. Which means what? Latter time. All right. Prophetic for future time. All right. Basically, him speaking on the things that will befall the children that come from his 12 sons. Because these events actually happened to his 12 sons, but to the descendants of those 12 sons. Okay. And so today we are dealing with, find the verse here, down there somewhere. Here we go, right here. Genesis, just one verse, all right, but a little bit to talk about. So Genesis chapter 49, all right, verse 20, we're dealing with the tribe of Asher, all right. Tribe of Asher, or Ashar in the Hebrew, meaning happy, all right, happy, son of Jacob and Zilpah. Excuse me. Zilpah was, I want to say Zilpah was Leah's handmaid. I know it's not important. Yep, that's right. Yep. Leah's handmaid. There you go. Okay, so yep, son of Jacob by Zilpah, because he had Rachel and Leah. Zilpah was Leah's handmaid, and Bilhah was Rachel's handmaid. There you go. So Asher meaning happy, right? And so, I don't think we need this. We'll look at it anyways. Go straight up. Yep. Oh, yep. It said same thing down below. See, to be made happy. All right, be blessed. All right. So Asher means happy. Okay. So and the tribe of Asher pretty much is all the way from way up top, like what is it, north, west, from Colombian all the way down to southeast Uruguay. Cause you got Argentina, all that down there. As a matter of fact, maybe I can map it for you. Let's see what will come up if we put Colombia to Uruguay. Okay, actually, let's see if we can put. Let's talk about a trip. Let's put distance. There you go. Let's see if we can find a map. Actually, let me go back. Not map. Let me back up here. I want the actual map. Bear with me. 4 days. Yeah, good luck. No. Okay. Yeah, I want images. All right, there you go. Perfect. See that? Well, over here, Colombia will be the green, Uruguay will be the orange, and pretty much, oh, even better. All right. There's Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina. All right. And a whole big chunk right there, what you see, is Brazil. All right. So, actually, I can get rid of this Brazil because yeah, so-called Brazilians, all of that. All right, because let me go back over here. All right, because okay, yeah, bam. So, because the word Brazil, which means what is it, iron, right? Actually comes from. Let me just pull it up real quick. Random scripture here. Deuteronomy 8:9, a land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness, thou shalt not lack anything in it. A land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou mayest dig brass. All right. So, and we've gone into the word brass many times before. I think going into Yahushua, but what we want is to go pull up the word iron, right? Because in the Hebrew, the word iron is barazal. All right, barazal. Okay, which is where the name Brazil comes from, right? Barazal, Brazil, which means what? iron. All right, and it says right here, iron ore. Okay, so yeah, so just because that's gonna come back up later. So let's go ahead and back up to, because we shouldn't be too long here today. It's not really much to talk about, but it is pretty precise though. So let's go down here to the verse. Genesis 49. Here it is, 20 out of Asher. Right. So Colombians, Uruguay, pretty much that whole South America area, but a big portion of that is Brazil. All right. And that's important because let me read it. Out of Asher, his bread shall be fat. And if I'm correct, the word bread is lacham in Hebrew. Yep, lacham, bread. Hebrew word for the day. You get Bethlehem, right? It goes back to the Hebrew Bayaf, which means house. Lacham means bread. So house of bread in Hebrew. Okay. Bear with me a second. All right, so continuing on. Here we're going to the word fat here, right? Which is shaman, all right? Which actually is the same word for oil. Okay, fat, rich, robust, fat, rich of food. So notice the difference here, because the word shaman does go into the word oil, if I'm correct. But in this scripture, which is also important to point out, because it says his bread shall be fat. So it says fat, rich, robust. Fat look rich of food. All right. So where it says his bread shall be fat, it's pretty much speaking on the land that they live on. Right. You got some key, food sources like corn, beans, potatoes. You got fruits and veggies. You know, real good source for a lot of different things that grow there as far as the land goes. And then, but also on another level, what you have is natural resources. All right. Being abundant in different resources in lithium, zinc, lead, silver, gold. You got rainforest, so the Amazon rainforest, so timber, abundant in fresh water sources, um, natural gas. All right, and as we read before, pointing out the word Brazil, coming from the Hebrew word barzal, meaning iron, but they also have oil. Okay, so bear with me. All right, slacking. So let's see if we can get through this. So yeah, I mentioned all these different, resources, different natural resources, right? From crops, but to actual natural resources and things of that nature. All right, and one of them, um, one of those natural resources being oil, which actually leads us over to Deuteronomy 33. All right, and find it here, Deuteronomy 33 and 24. It says, and of Asher, he said, let Asher be blessed with children, which I mean, that's straightforward. Okay. It says, let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. See? So that oil, there it is right there, because I mentioned it before, shaman, all right? So the word oil had a different meaning in the other scripture, but in this scripture, all right, it means, the word oil, shaman is oil, all right? And we're actually talking about oil, the blood of the earth, all right? It says, yeah, let him be acceptable to his, and let him dip his foot in oil. All right, that's straightforward. Okay, so it says, thy shoes shall be iron and brass. Now remember we mentioned iron before, right? The word Brazil, all right, barazal. There it is right there again. Okay, iron ore, all right, which you need iron ore to make steel, all right. Which there's other things, all right, but steel is a major thing that iron ore is needed for. Okay. But yeah, so there you go, straightforward, right? So iron and brass says, and as thy days, so shall thy strength be. So what that goes into is you have like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right? BJJ, right? Okapara, which is like a mixture of what, like I think it's like dancing and acrobatics, right? Seeing I don't know, can't really think about it. Does capoeira besides Eddie from Tekken, but if you know about Tekken, Eddie, I think his name is Eddie Gordo, something like that. Well, I know his name is Eddie. He does capoeira, right? So you'll see it. And he actually has the Brazilian, clothing, all right, and colors. And I think he wears green, yellow. Of course, it's going off with the locks and stuff, but you get it. You got BJJ, capoeira, even judo and Muay Thai, which I think Muay Thai originated in Thailand, but they practice it judo. If I'm correct, that's originated in Japan. Might be wrong, but I believe it might be originated in Japan. But they practice that, right? Okay, so those are non-original, but still things, fighting styles, right? Basically, all kinds of mixed martial arts styles. So that's what that's going into, and those Brazilians are majorly known, okay, for that. All right. So yeah, thy shoes shall be iron and brass, and as thy days, so shall thy strength be. All right. So we can go back to Genesis. All right. Like I told you, there's not much here. All right. So Genesis 49:20, out of Asher, his bread shall be fat. We talked about those things. Okay. You know, all the different natural resources from food, crops, vegetation, and the other natural resources, oil, gold, all those different things like that. Oil, all right, iron ore, all the different things like that. It says, and he shall yield royal dainties. All right, now, because when you go into the word royal, it's actually malak, which malak is the Hebrew word for king. See, so and then the word says dainties here. All right, and it says dainty or food delight because in the more ancient periods, all right, you would have kings that would eat meats all the time, good meats and stuff like that. Have different kind of royal dainties, right? But different sweets and desserts and things of that nature, all right, in abundance. So they would eat them often. You wouldn't see like regular commoners often eating rich foods like that, all right. Heavy meats and bunch of different types of sweet items and things of that nature, right? Because these were things that kings could afford. All right, so people of higher class could afford, so they would often eat them as delicacies. Okay, and so pairs up with what we're reading here about Asher, right? He shall. Um, okay, yeah. So it says he shall yield royal things. Let's get the word Nathan, which means to give. Yeah, to give. Yep. So it's our yield royal dainties. So yeah, and so that's straightforward, right? Dainty food, delight, all right? The delicacies, all right? They have, maybe we could put it in Brazilian delicacies, all right? See what comes up. Because it's really not much. Delicacies. Trasco. I can't even pronounce half of these things. All right, but you see that's meat, they got different food items like sweet items, fried items, all kinds of different things, man. Okay. You can just dig a deeper research on that. It's not really important. Okay. But actually that was pretty much it though. Tell you the truth, it was actually shorter than Dan, which there's nothing to talk about with Dan, but hey, it was still, like I said, it was not much to talk about, straightforward. All right. Very huge, vast area. So you see exactly who was talking about when it's dealing with those people. So what else is there to say? All right, so yeah, Asher, happy, Columbia, the real boy, and that big old huge portion in between, which is why we pointed that out the most. Brazil, right? The Brazilian soul, pretty much South America, all right? They're pretty much that South American area, because we know the Israelites came after the Assyrian captivity over to the Americas from South Central, moving up to North America, even as far as Canada when you're dealing with the little tribes, right? So-called Native Americans. So pretty much it for Asher, man. So, what will you add? 5 tennis on Yashua? I'm going to say shalom.